It's time for Internet Explorers. It's time for Internet Explorers. It's time for Internet Explorers.
Nope, you're muted. It's funny how much of a thing that used to be, and then you got pretty good for a while, and I feel like you're regressing a little bit.
That was a specific mute because I'm trying to get a tweet out, and I didn't want my clicking and clacking to interfere. But I just realized that actually one of the benefits is I can get the string of expletives out that I would probably want to get out through the rest of the show out there when it's muted.
Honestly, it was cathartic for me too, just seeing you release all that energy.
Thank you, and you're welcome. I guess is more of the answer. Episode 44, Internet Explorers. We got a great show this week. We've got people have been talking about Bags app. So we got founder of Bags coming in to tell us what the heck they're up to. We've got Slow Rodeo, a C Club project. I got some fun things planned, and this idea of full stack brand seems to be taking on a new life out there in the world. And these guys have been thinking and building towards it for many months now. So excited to see what they have coming up. And then I have no idea what the rest of this is because I didn't look at your sheet, Josh. So I'm excited to explore them with you alongside these lovely people. If you're hanging out with us on Twitter, come on over to live.seedclub.xyz. It's where the chat is. Hello, chatters. If you're on LinkedIn, just stay there, hang out. You're safer. We'll just beam it into your safe little cocoon of LinkedIn. How you doing, Josh? It's a big week. You look like you're in Montauk or something.
I'm in the Montauk of Quebec, I guess. Yeah, no, I'm posted up by a lake right now. Long weekend coming up. I don't know, it's cold. It's August, but it feels like fall. I didn't dress. I'm like notoriously underprepared for changes in weather, and I've been cold all week.
You are, yeah. We've had, it's like the end of August comes around up north of the 49th, and you're like, okay. It's no longer hot in the evenings, but it's still sunny, not raining. It's a long weekend, so I made sure to book some tea times ahead. So we're well prepared going into this next weekend. And then it's going to be a big September, man. Like, I feel like next week is September. Like, FYI to everybody. What? And it's go time again. It's like, it just feels like everything's shaking back up and ready to rock and roll. So very excited about that. We'll welcome people back from Burning Man. They'll brush the dust out of their eyes.
Trad 5 people are back from their summer off.
Yes. So no piece today. We got Josh on the screens here, so we'll see how that goes. But let's get into it. I mean, I've been fascinated by.
Let's get Hunter up here.
Hunter, what up, Hunter?
What's up, guys? How are you?
We're good, man. Great to have you on.
Pleasure to be here.
Bags is the thing. So Josh is like, oh, Bags app, that's super cool. And people are like, oh, Bags. And then you've heard about Bag and I was like, yo, yes. But I'm also have zero clue what you're actually building. So I feel like this is maybe the right place to start. If you can give us like the intro, maybe. And I think people would love to know who you are as well. So
for
who
sure.
are you and what are you building?
Yeah. So I'm Hunter. I've been building consumer social apps since 2017. Since then, I've done over 300 million downloads on my apps. I built the largest anonymous social app in history called NGL. We did about 250 million downloads on that app. I co-founded that. Prior to that, I built the largest Snapchat friend finding app in the world called Wink. We did 50 million downloads on Wink, and I built that with one of the co-founders of Musical.ly after he sold to ByteDance. A lot of failures as well during that time. Joined crypto in 2017, was buying Bitcoin in my senior year of high school. I loved it. I was obsessed immediately. And then I kind of just did social for all those years, kind of picked my head up after NGL. We did over 40 million in revenue with 250 million downloads. And I kind of figured it's a lot, but I want to be able to touch more people and also make money more. So I kind of figured, let's jump into finance. Let's jump back into crypto, and started Bags about a year ago. We started ideating on it. Really, the simple pitch of Bags is like, with Bags, you can create group chats. You can see what your friends are buying, and you can trade together all in one place. Biggest problem that I see in crypto right now is the user journey is super fragmented between like data aggregators and wallet apps, Telegram, Discord bots, exchanges. But like with Bags, it's like one app and you can do everything right there. And it's also very simple, so we can shill it to our normie friends.
Yeah, I think maybe we can pause on NGL for a sec. Maybe I think the theme of today's show is going to be, talking about Nikita Beer, Soundmap, which is a viral app that's not a crypto app. So I think a theme of this is going to be our need to get more sophisticated. I think it's builders, and it's people like yourself who have done it. So I'd love to maybe just pull out some insights from building viral consumer focused products from NGL.
Okay, before you answer that, Josh, your audio is all messed up, so if you could just check your settings. Go. All right, man. Feel free to answer that question if you got it, Hunter.
Yeah. I mean, a couple insights. I think a lot of insights. I'd say the main thing though I've learned that really I applied from Wink to NGL to Bags is the importance of seeding your apps on larger platforms. So with Wink, we generated a lot of those 50 million downloads from Snapchat directly, right? So people would be on Wink. The purpose of it was to make friends on Snapchat. We had a really great growth loop where you would share on Snap. That brought in a lot of users. So I kind of learned it's really important to be able to share links and share things to grab users that are in large pockets on other platforms, and then apply the same thing with NGL, obviously with Instagram this time. And we later expanded NGL to now it's live everywhere. You see it on Twitter and Snap as well. But same thing, how do you provide a user with something they can share and then bring people from larger pockets and where there's really dense users? And then the same thing with Bags, right? That's how we kind of started Bags. We built this Bags link growth loop. We got over 300,000 people to claim their links and then share them on X. We've done, probably 50 to 100 million free impressions just through that method. And it kind of helped jumpstart the company. So I'd say that's a solid through line between at least my three main ones I built.
How's my audio now? Is it any better? Yeah?
Yeah, much better. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think one really interesting thing that you did bringing this product to market is your OG membership sales. So could you talk a bit about just what that mechanic was, why so many people en masse were buying those, and I guess the impact it's had on your ability to just stay down and keep building?
For sure. I mean, the idea for the OG membership really came from building in public, right? We built the whole company fully in public, and we're very kind of out front with what we wanted to build. And we just had people that came to us who were just really wanted to be more involved in the ecosystem, right? We had, I think at the time, maybe 70 or 80,000 followers, and people were how do we get involved with Bags? How do we, kind of get more in the know? And we had this idea of well, let's just kind of create a group of people that can become our first users, and we can really build an incredible product for this audience. It did way better than we expected it to do. Honestly, I was blown away with the response from the membership. And yeah, I mean, it really helped us honestly, just crystallize the vision, right? Because we have now this audience of people that really care about what we're building. They give us amazing feedback. They've been working, with us to kind of go through our beta and find bugs and errors. And it was honestly just this incredible way of bringing in early evangelists who believed in our pitch And the OGs are going to benefit a lot in the future from what we're doing for sure. So we're very grateful for them.
Yeah, sick. We're gonna on this big trend of like really digging into the core insights that are behind the products people are building, especially when trying to make sense of the early stage investment opportunities we're seeing. So how would you describe the core insight that you guys are building bags on top of?
I mean, the core insight I think is just like we want to bring 10 million new users into crypto, right? Like that's really what we're looking to do. So we are building everything around how do we make this the simplest experience possible. And how do we check off the box of it's the best place to trade, but it's also the best place to engage with token communities. So I think you have to have both of those. But like really building an all-encompassing product where, you could tell your best friend who has nothing to do with crypto, they can easily hop on, totally understand what's going on, and then be able to share it with their friends as well. This is not going to have, it already doesn't, right? There's not a high learning curve. It's pretty easy to understand what's happening.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, go ahead, Jess.
Well, there's this dance that we're, I think, all doing in some way, which is this the mythical normie user that's going to come in and understand or desire to use crypto, and versus serving the group here. And I think in meme coins it becomes the most stark, because I think there's this belief that I see in a lot of products that there is a large number of people out there who want to come and punt and trade meme coins, and I think there's a lot of reason to believe that, right? Like growth in gambling, yada yada. The thing that I struggle with, though, is separating some of the rough edges of meme coins from the entertainment and excitement of it. And so I think there are, say, a cohort of products out there that are going after Robinhood for meme coins. And they all seem to, in my opinion, remove the thing that makes them interesting in the first place, which is finding the thing, being out on the open internet, like the actual adventure and experience of with your friends, your cabal, your group chat, whatever it is, kind of going and exploring that stuff. So I feel like there's sort of this double whammy of like building for people who aren't here yet, which huge opportunity, but death and destruction on the road to it for many people. And then also, the insight or path to building for those normal people, ultimately removing the thing that's ultimately the most entertaining and exciting about it. So I'm curious if you can react to that.
Yeah, so I definitely agree with you there. I think that you can't do one or the other. You have to serve both, which is really why, we never wanted to be Robinhood for meme coins. That was never our plan. That was never what we thought we sought to do. I really look at it as like what we've seen on Telegram and Discord these last few years is the V0 of a crypto social super app. And, like the way that we use bots and the way that bots are engaging with chat threads, and someone sends a CA and then you move from that chat thread to another one, and you open up your bot, and then you move to a different chat thread, you get a chart, and then you go to a DEX, and like all these things are happening, and they're happening really at the point of contact, which is at the community level. And I think, as an app builder and someone who's been in this space for a while, like, the best apps are the ones that find these niche communities that are already existing and already doing things that are basically like really bad UX, but they have a very strong desire to do them, which is crypto people, right? UX is horrible, but like we want to do it. So we're going to jump through whatever hoops it is. And we kind of with bags, like targeting that exact group of people that are doing very complicated UX. They have a high desire, they're high intent based, but we can really come in and be like, hey, this experience you're doing now that's really disjointed, we can create it and make it be really together and full. So you can kind of come onto bags and someone drops a token, right? Drops a ticker or a CA, which automatically transfers into a token. You never see a CA. Someone drops a token, you can tap it right there. Charts, stats, social proof, who's buying it, friends that hold it, everything you could possibly need. And then you can make a decision to buy and sell that token right there. And you've not even left the chat. You're still right there. So really getting to the point of like impulse buying will become so easy, because you also like, you subscribe to your friends on bags, right? So I can see what you guys are buying and I'm just like, oh shit, like, what's Josh buying today? Like, oh, that's awesome. Like, I got to buy that one too. And it's really easy because it's in one place versus now it's like, what are your friends holding? What are they buying? It's very hard to figure that out. And I think that the organization of meme coin communities is really key. And it's not going to work on an app like Telegram or Discord where you're jumping through bots and different hoops because, to a normie, it looks like you're being hacked, right? Like that's why it doesn't work for them, right? They get a safeguard bot. They're immediately worried about what that is. They get another bot. People don't like to read, right? Like all these different things come into play. And I think that, with bags, we can make it easy for the general public, but also we can fill the needs of crypto natives.
Yeah, I think it's yeah, go Jess.
Sorry, is there any limit to the types of tokens that get sort of bought and sold and traded here? Like, are you involved in like the listing type of process here in your app, or can I bring any token in?
Any token, and you can trade tokens that are freshly available, all the way up to like the tier 1 memes, and we'll be, we're launching on Solana first, but we'll be cross-chain within a couple of months, and you'll be able to buy Bitcoin on bags. You'll be able to buy everything on bags.
And I'm assuming the sort of the business model here is transaction fees. Is that the idea, or?
Yeah, we take a transaction fee, and then we pass half of that transaction fee to the owner of the chat. So if you're an influencer or a KOL, and you have a lot of our OGs, right? They're big Telegram guys. They have massive chats. If you have a chat on bags and people trade in that chat, which they're trading in chats on Telegram, you're dropping plays, you're dropping strategies, your tickers. You could buy them right there, and then 50% of the fees go to the chat owner. And then the chat owner can decide like if they want to distribute the fees across their audience as well. And we have a whole system we call it bag drops, where you can kind of create like specialized airdrops for your members and stuff. So but yeah, we pass a lot of those fees off to the owners.
Yeah, I love this point you made of just the building products on top of this latent demand that you're already seeing exist, and new consumer behaviors you're already seeing emerge, but are being like completed in very, very inefficient ways. Because if people are like jumping through hoops and doing all kinds of janky things to serve this desire they have, and you can package that up and do a compelling product that brings all their friends there, I think you're onto something powerful.
I think most people are coming at this. A lot of things or teams are coming at this from like a safety and a which I think is meaningfully different than sort of an ease of use piece. And I think that safety piece in my mind is the thing that just people don't want to be like, this is not the category they want to be safe in. I think, again, from revealed preferences versus stated preferences. So, and then I do think like the idea of like the place where safety does emerge is amongst trusted small groups, or amongst somebody has high social status and therefore needs to maintain that in some way. So I think that's super interesting.
Well, I think that's what Pump did so well, right? Like they brought the trenches with them, and I think playing with your product, like you guys are also bringing the trenches with you. You're not, to your point, you're not building like the Robin Hood for meme coins. You're building
100%
a more accessible trench product. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like the trenches is in a bags chat, right? Like because you can create chats. You can easily create it, send an invite link, get all your friends on it, and then basically you have like your little cabal. And then you can go and you can bring people in, or you can like in the future token gate it, right? If you wanted to create like special whale chats, you wanted people that own specific assets. If you wanted to create a new token and then like target it at like I want to give it to certain people on bags that hold this and other tokens, that's also going to be really easy, right? So it's like the trenches are coming with us. We're not like saying like no trenches anymore, like because that's where the money is made, right? But I think the trenches should be like a little bit easier to use, and also should be mobile, and it should be native, right? Like we should be able to just be on our phones and easily natively from an embedded wallet buy tokens and have zero issue doing that. And right now it's quite difficult, especially if you want to explain it to an average person. It's quite difficult.
So Hunter, we have a lovely group of about 200 S-tier early adopters in something we call Test Flight Club. How do we get them some early access to bags? I
can send you guys a link. No problem.
Boom. Look at us out here doing God's work, getting early adopting. Yeah. And then what's sort of like the next thing? When should people be on the lookout for a beta or something they can go click around?
So right now we have a beta. We have a couple thousand people on our beta that we let in, some of our diehard OGs that are in there. But anyone can join the test flight. We do have a public link, but I can send you one specifically. That way it doesn't fill up for your group. Right now we have a kind of more a limited feature set in beta, but we're very close to our launch version. Public launch is like right around the corner for us. That's kind of, we've just been heads down focusing on that. So the current beta is like, it's like one chat. So it's pretty chaotic. It's like a couple thousand people in one chat. So you're just kind of seeing crazy stuff going on. And
look at the smile on Josh's face. He's like, yes, that's what I like.
Yes. Yeah.
No, it's not. It's not.
Yeah. So I mean, right now it's chaotic, but it's super fun because like you just see what everybody's buying and people can really have fun and trade together. But yeah, launch version is very soon. We're gonna probably do like an official announcement in the next like week or two about like what our public date is, and then yeah, we'll be on the App Store. And really our goal, like we've been very public, like our goal is to be #1 in finance this cycle. You know, next year when, you know, retail FOMO's in, Bitcoin's at 100K and hopefully Solana's at 500 plus. When they FOMO in, they're FOMOing into bags, not Coinbase, Binance, or any of those other platforms. And that's really what we're building for. But at the same time, we're making sure that the trenches come with us and we build for the people that care about this the most. Because I mean, crypto has gone up and down. I've been here for a long time. And, you know, there's something about like, if you are in this community and you care about it, it is your life. And we really, really care about building a product that people can spend so much time on and enjoy it. And, you know, also just like be able to tell their friends and family what they're doing without, you know, them thinking that they're insane, right? Which is something that I deal with.
You're not solving that problem, dude. That is a problem that is so much greater than you or I or anybody on this call, I think. But yes.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, appreciate you hanging out with us today. And best of luck as you move towards your launch. And
thank you,
we'll
guys.
DM you to get that link and get some of our folks in there.
For sure.
Yeah, everyone go play with bags. It's like, I think the thing that slapped me in the face when I was following it for a while, like pre it actually being a product, it was a wait list. And then when I actually got the product, I think the thing that was very obvious is you guys actually know how to go build great products. And, you know, that's not always the case in consumer crypto. So I highly recommend anyone interested go some this thing.
I appreciate it, guys. This was great. We'll do it again.
Awesome.
See you, dude.
Cheers.
Awesome.
Peace.
Peace.
Yeah. I mean, I think that it's funny. I tweeted earlier this week, and I think you've had similar things where you're talking about like, I think it was like you're bearish now, Anon, is sort of the thing. Like this, you know, when you're kind of in the building trying to build consumer products, you felt the incredible limitations that have existed up until months ago, literally. I don't know how you sit here today and not feel bullish. And then you talk to teams that I think have been really internalizing a lot of the lessons that have been learned over the last little while and come out with, you know, we're seeing new mechanisms come out and about to launch. We're seeing new integrative tools, right? I think that's sort of the internet is sort of unbundling and bundling. We're kind of in this new bundling phase, which is kind of interesting. And I think there's a ton of opportunity there. So meanwhile, people are leaving, they're just quitting their stuff, etc. So I'm like, oh, this is the setup I like. This is what I like. So
yeah, it's true.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on.
Yo.
What's up, man?
Jesus Christ. You guys put me on after that guy with 50 million in revenue and
yeah, share your stats, man. What do you got for us?
First of all, that was the beautiful thing about this game is like that he's got those points on the board, but they don't count. They don't count right now.
that's
whatsoever.
Also,
Neither do your court date points. So.
Don't undersell your team, man. Your team, the stuff that you guys have done, it's like what creative directing for like Kendrick, Drake, in like, you know, creative directing for Nike, ESPN, Volkswagen. Like you guys, you're good too. Don't worry.
Yeah. We like
you.
We like you
so
too.
Smart. You're so smart. You throw a hell of a party.
Appreciate it, guys. Appreciate it.
You just make look really good at Farcon. So
yeah,
you're good books. You're in our good books.
Nice.
Sick, man. Yeah, excited to obviously get into Slow Rodeo, court date. I think some of the fun stuff you guys have coming up. But I think maybe just to properly set the context before we jump there, do you just want to kind of share, you know, the insight behind full stack brands and why building them is such an interesting emerging opportunity?
Yeah. I mean, I think it stems a bit from all of our backgrounds on the team. Obviously, Hamilton, Tom, myself. Tom's been in the crypto space forever. Hamilton and I more traditionally in creative advertising, brand building space. And just, I think over the course of our career saw the internet really just get like flattened, right? And it's truly flattened everything from like taste to, you know, I think a lot of brands had great physical distribution modes at first, and now all of that activity is online and is just like kind of completely eroded. It's made building brands, you know, D2C era, made building brands easier than ever, which then obviously created a new problem, which is like everybody and their mother has a skincare brand now, and it's impossible to cut through the noise. And, you know, you guys talk a lot about attention economy and things of that nature. I think that's really where we land on full stack brands is there's a new internet and a new set of tools now that allow you to build much more like engaging consumer brands that don't have as big of a leaky bucket problem. I think over the past 10, 20 years, like I was very fortunate to be there at the beginning of kind of like Instagram's rise, and it helped me build a career. But Instagram is not what it was then, which was like a community and social platform. And now it's just basically brands are paying a tax back to all social platforms to try to like acquire customers. And it's just over the last few years, we've really seen those unit economics just like crater and flip. And it's just, unless you're Kendall Jenner, it's really hard to kind of build a brand that way and not just like spend millions of dollars to acquire customers. So we just kind of took a look at the landscape, and over that time, Hamilton and myself, we launched a non-alcoholic beer together. We jumped into the NFT space with a company called Autograph, which was a digital sports collectibles marketplace founded by Tom Brady. And we just started to kind of like really jump down that rabbit hole. And we started to see a lot of tools and things that we thought could be brought over to the consumer brand space to build better, more engaging, and more kind of like cyclical brands that were stickier, more top of mind. And I think if you take a look back at just the landscape in general, the last 20 years, the real winners have just been social platforms, social games, whatever it is. Like if you look on the big context of consumer, it's Fortnite as a game is more where kids are hanging out and finding their friends than it is a first person shooter, right? And even down to like today, we're seeing, I think Boys Club did a piece on it last week, and I think Forbes did a piece before that, like run clubs are replacing Tinder. Like nobody cares about Tinder anymore. It's, you got to go find, I think younger generations need like a physical activity.
I thought it was AI girlfriends. AI girlfriends.
Yeah, I think that was a quick up and down, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe in your circles, I don't know, but
I've been I tried to kick the tires there. It felt very uncomfortable for me, just so you know. Let's not get sidetracked here, right? Don't let me get sidetracked.
But yeah, I think we've just seen that like social is the winner, right? Like we are facing an epidemic of isolation and loneliness. Like in America, I think the Surgeon General is like comparing it to like smoking 14 cigarettes a week, right? Like that's what our internet problems are doing to us, but the internet's not going anywhere. So I think a lot of like what we are focused on is like, how do we use the internet to do what original social platforms set out to do, which is like connect people, right? And then how do we drive that connectivity to IRL engagement, getting people out in the world, touching grass, doing real things, benefiting society, and like becoming better people in the process, but also maybe getting physical, getting active, doing interesting things. And I think the big thing there is just like, it's one self-contained brand, right? You're not just like taking a section of yourself and putting it on Facebook and putting it on Instagram and then having an email list and just all these disjointed ways. Like creating a social platform at the top of these layers is really, I think, the key for us. And then when you build into that, that's when you start to introduce tokens as an incentive mechanism, as a way to kind of like move people and get them to do things that, help you build a brand more organically and through community driven growth, which is where the most successful brands, operate. And then as we just continue to progress down all of this emerging technology, even down into AI, like the more that we are doing that on chain, the more activity from day one that our consumers and users are doing on chain, the more we can recognize them for what they're doing to help us build the brands that we're building. And that, I think, is just like a very like healthy relationship that doesn't exist today. You look at brands like Glossier that are like built off of the back of UGC, and those people are getting nothing for it. Yeah,
I like there's a couple of insights here that I think are interesting, and I think sort of the core insight that I think has been around for a while is like, oh, if you do things on chain and you reward users, like there's something interesting to be done there. I think the subtext of like there's actually these new ways people are forming connections and like run clubs, and they're like, like I was thinking about launching a golf club, just so you guys know, just for fun, like maybe we'll do it, right? But anyways, like, totally. But these are these sort of new types of interactions, and right now those interactions are very much mediated and structured and shaped by the platforms that we're using them, right? So it's a WhatsApp group or it's a whatever. And I think, so I think there's sort of this clear use there. And then I also think that you guys are coming at this process from deep experience in building exceptional brands. And that's very different than I think a lot of teams that are coming at this from a tech thing first approach. And so we've seen like infrastructure attempts at building what I would say, it would probably come through like bringing Shopify on chain or something like that. But I think where it's fallen down is that nobody knows what a full stack brand is. Like the true value of that hasn't been unlocked anywhere yet. And so this idea of not only, having an intention to build this sort of infrastructure that is either used purely by the brands that you launch, or has the optionality to be something else. But by doing that through building like the defining full stack brand, I think is interesting. And knowing that the team has that pedigree to go do it. So maybe using that, can we kind of like lead into what you guys are, I think, announcing soon or dropping soon?
Yeah, no, I think that's really the core insight for us too, though, right? It's like, we want to go build the brands that, pave this path and show people what they can be. And I think that's really important. I think, the best analogy for us is like, the Apple Store didn't launch by just like opening the floodgates to anybody the App Store didn't launch by opening floodgates to anybody who wanted to build an app. Like, they had to kind of like go lay the foundation and show the quality of apps and how they can be built there. So then it kind of got people, thinking in the right direction. I think that's really where we want to go. And to be totally candid about the process as well, it's like, we know what step one, we know what step two is. We want to build this brand. Whether that becomes, we want to go, really build this out to be a platform for everyone to build this way and create this way, or we want to go build more brands this way with more collaborators. Like, we don't know. And I think that's kind of maybe our hot take is like, I don't think we should know. And it'd be irresponsible for us to say like, yeah, I know what's going to happen in 3 years at the speed that everything is moving today. So we're just focused on doing the thing right in front of us, which is building a brand and doing it really well. And as we kind of like kept looking back at the full stack brand approach, tennis had always just been bouncing around in our heads pre this business, pre really falling down the crypto rabbit hole, pre all of this. It's just culturally, it's there. It's the hot thing. You guys know we've been building this for way before challengers came out, but like great signal for us. But it's also just like, just you golf is your thing, right? And golf communities are great, and we'll probably try to do something in golf too, but like, it's a slow sport, and it takes a lot to like, play around a golf. And like, you can get a lot of people playing a lot of different formats of tennis and getting together around tennis-based activities. And I think it's a lot of the pain points with people post-COVID, huge booms, huge surges. A lot of people picked it up. Some people didn't really follow through with it. And a lot of those pain points are like, you've really got to find somebody who's like a pretty equal skill level with you to be fun and competitive and enjoy it. Or you got to find a group of people to like split some costs and share some costs to like get better at these sports and do better. So that's where the social platform layer of this like comes in for Court Date. It's like, we want to create this platform within the brand where, great, come in, buy our clothes. It's an apparel brand at its core, right? And we want to bring a sense of edge and like kind of like criminality, if you will, to tennis, which is like very white yuppie country club shit. And sure, come buy the clothes, but also maybe go find your next hitting partner. Find new people to play against, find experiences and events that we're hosting in different cities. And then where it gets really exciting is like, go become the mayor of your town or your city and go build a community of tennis players around that. And here's the tools and the platforms to do that. I think we'll see, our opinion is that social platforms in general are going to get really niche and hyper specific and focused on things, because trying to be everything for everyone on these social platforms has just turned it into garbage. And just kind of like, I don't trust anything that gets fed to me on Instagram anymore. I wonder how much the person got paid for it. That's the first thing that comes to mind. So, just finding places where, if tennis is your thing, then come to Court Date every day, check up on what's happening, what's new. And the more you engage with the brand, the more we reward you for it in terms of like access. So I know that the token question's coming, so I can just get straight into it. And it's just like, yeah, I think that's where we get really excited is like, I think we have a different stance on tokens than a lot of other projects. I think specifically in a platform that has an e-commerce experience, the last thing that I want to sign up for is like dealing with price fluctuations of a token and how to line that up with the cost of our goods and maintaining that on a regular basis. So we look at tokens much more as a level of access to new and better experiences that we will continue to roll out within the platform, events, experiences, specific collaborations, specific launches, early access to things. And I think it's an interesting way for us to maybe create a more approachable and accessible entry point into crypto. It allows us to really also abstract away a lot of the friction that I think, quote unquote, keeps the normies away. It allows us to really kind of do it in a way that we can be lean and nimble with how we pull those levers to incentivize the things that we know are right for building our business at that point in time in that moment.
Yeah, 100%. I think one of the big things you guys are just bumping up against is people's overly narrow definition of what a brand is, or at least them not realizing that brands of the future are just going to be like everything, or have the opportunity to be everything and serve people in a growing number of ways with the advancement of AI, open protocols, all this stuff that's coming.
I think brands being tech is the thing, right? Like the limitations to, if you're saying we're going to go launch our own social networks even 2 years ago, people would be like, you're insane.
Crazy.
But I think this idea of more niche connection points for sure makes a ton of sense. I mean, tennis as well. The other thing my friends are playing is tennis, and it's this whole thing,
Totally.
clubs and all this sort of stuff. I think I saw a great post talking about the U.S. Open being Coachella-ified this year, right? There's clearly an it thing. So
record numbers the last 3 years.
Yeah. And so these sort of sports become shelling points for human connection, and it's not structured that way, purposely structured that way right now. So so you guys are doing a pop-up store and live US Open watch party in New York next week?
Yeah.
2 weeks?
So
next week?
Next week. So finals are next weekend. We've got this spot on.
You're
Rivington.
teasing it. That's incredible because you didn't tease it with us, and it looks.
I said, Josh, I'm down to give everybody the full leak on the stream. I sent it to Josh. It's a massive image, just so you can zoom in on everything. So I hope you downloaded it in advance. But yeah, so next weekend is the finals of the U.S. Open. So women's finals are Saturday, men's finals are Sunday, singles finals. The pop-up shop will be open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We're partnering with Mesh, too, Scene Infrastructure Company, to run some fun little things. RSVP through Mesh. You'll get entered into raffle for finals tickets, US Open men's finals tickets, hot ticket. So all the reasons to come through. Any purchase of things, you're also getting entered. So a little bit of a sneak peek into how points will operate and work within the system, and some of the things that we'll give away. So yeah, start up at the top. I can kind of run through it all, but
look at this.
We really wanted to. Yeah, we wanted to lean into this kind of this tagline that we've been ideating around, which is Oncourt Hardware, all of the tools that you need to play tennis on court, but it also has obviously a lot of tech and kind of crypto meaning as well. I love this one. It's a little and one throwback. If you guys remember those and one t-shirts from back in the day. But yeah, so we've built this collection, the pop-up shop, which I know was on the Instagram post. We're doing full fabrication. So think about what we did for FarCon and 20 Exit. Think Donald Judd and Prada made a hardware store in the middle of a pop-up shop in the Lower East Side. So really excited for that. And Saturday we'll have a watch party for the women's finals. We'll have a ping pong table in the middle of the room that we're building. So come get worked in ping pong if you're in New York. And then Sunday's the men's finals. So come through, check out some clothes. Got some for the girlies and the guys.
I need the hat.
Yeah, we'll
I need the hat.
Hat sick.
We'll make sure.
I need one of these.
I'll send you guys the ecom link.
Yeah. Send us the link. I mean, I got all sorts of court date gear already that I rock all the time and get weird looks from old people on the golf course, which is perfect.
That's the plan.
All right, man, we got to let you go here. Thanks for jumping on. Slow Rodeo on Twitter is probably your best place to follow along. I think if you're just intrigued about brand building, D2C, evolution of brands, what niche social networks could look like, these guys are leaning into all those edges. So worth a follow, even if you're not a tennis guy.
Appreciate it, guys.
All right, man. Have a good one.
Peace, dude.
Later.
And do you think we come up with that? You talk about sort of the limitations of certain words, and now we're trying to break those things out. And it's, we've had so many threads and discussions about naming and categories and all this sort of stuff. But I think that there's very much, and even in talking to other investors around it, there's very much a figuring out here. Like it feels like it's a new type of thing. And so the opportunity for court date, and there's others that are going after it. I think, we've talked to Ty before about Try Your Best, which is kind of a different approach, but seeing, success in their take up around these brands. So like, it's very clear that the D2C model today does not work, or it's very much doesn't work in the way that it had for the previous, say, 5 years. And I think we're still waiting for whatever that next thing is. And this is such a juicy category to go after. And I think doing it in a pragmatic way that can actually introduce new tennis people or whatever type of people to the benefits of crypto is kind of interesting. So, we talked earlier with Bags about this idea of like, you go after normies. But I think his response to that was like, well, these actions are happening right now. And so regardless of whether they're normie or not, like, people are doing this. And I think that's the same thing that we're seeing, that Ryan and team have seen in D2C, in tennis as a niche specifically, et cetera. So,
I mean, do you remember when we were walking through Venice and like the Venice Run Club started coming through, and it was like,
oh yeah, I got 4 dates. I got 4 dates
like,
just from that, and I wasn't even asking. I'm a married man.
But it was like, dude, it felt like we were in the middle of like a stampede, or like
it did not stop.
Like Coachella, or there's like thousands and thousands of people for 25 minutes just like flowing through the streets.
Okay,
wow.
Like,
this is no, dude.
Thousands?
Yeah, man. It was insane.
It stopped for a long time. I was just trying to get across the street, which was a very hard thing to do when there was a throng of runners come through.
Yeah.
And my guess is people are taking the under on that category that Slow Rodeo is building in, and I think that's going to be a mistake. So,
I mean, I just think it's like the category, right? Like it's like all
I agree.
Like all leverage in the world now and going forward comes from the source of attention. People want to see themselves in the things that they use and exist in. So if you can just like build a world that people really want to participate in and be a part of, like you can just serve them in so many ways. And yeah, I'm glad to have people that know how to build brands and know how to build worlds that people want to belong in to go do it.
Comment from the chat. Ryan says, well, different Ryan, never take the under on Slow Rodeo. Seems prophetic.
Tweet that.
All right, let's get into some topics. What's going on the internet this week?
Let's go. So, I mean, had to talk about this. I think actually, let me switch this is a new experience managing all of it. Yeah, I think like, we really don't need to get into the specifics of the show. I don't think. I think A, probably all of you have listened to it, and B, if you haven't, there's so many good just summaries floating out there. But I think like really I guess I had 2 big takeaways after listening to this. I think one is just how much more sophisticated I think we need to get as an industry and as consumer crypto builders to really like build products that are going to break out. Like I think we have like all the raw ingredients and properties of like a breeding ground where stuff is going to break out from, right? Like we have, this new technology that, that has the power to radically change how people behave. We have people already here living in this like unique future that it enables. And, we have capital. And I think the thing that we are just a bit light on today is the like sophisticated builders that know how to, go build viral products and bring them to market in really compelling ways. So I think that was one. And then I think the second one was just, remembering just how long this stuff takes. Like, Nikki was fucking around for 5 years before he finally learned enough and figured out how to package stuff up into, a way to have the success that he did with TBH. And I was, yesterday and tweeted about it yesterday, which is kind of looking through the, kind of the paths that many of like the most prominent and successful Web2, consumer products have taken. And they all took years. They all had to pivot many times. They all had some core insight that they were building on top of and kind of constantly figuring out the right way to package it up or build products on top of it. But this stuff just takes so long. And I think we've had like 6 months of, the right tooling to actually go build compelling products. So I think A, we need to get more sophisticated, but B, this stuff also just takes time.
yeah, my takeaway was just how close to it not ever being successful
Yeah.
it was. Like I think TBH the first app that kind of hit. And then the other piece I think is just there's maybe it's laziness or maybe it's just a lack of need. But I think because token incentives have such a weight to them, there has been I think a lack of innovation on growth loops, hacks, distribution, etc. And it might not even be innovation. It's probably just pulling in what works elsewhere into this new context. And I think that's in part why you see so much excitement with Telegram, is because those are fairly frictionless and well-trodden sort of growth behavior loops. But I think there's so much more to be done there. I think the sort of OG tag from Bags is a really great example there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think like part of the challenge almost too is like there's a pretty easy path in crypto to go build a thing for crypto Twitter and like feel like you've built something with product market fit that a lot of people care about. Whereas like that's just like this very easy, compelling path that pulls a lot of people in that like never existed before in Web 2, right? Like it was either you went viral or you largely just had nobody care about your thing at all. So I think that's almost like distracting in some way and has a lot of people going to build for like, you know, pretty real like local minimums instead of taking like the big swings that are ultimately going to build the real breakout products.
I mean, that's probably why you see such a high number of successful teams having pivots in them, et cetera, is that you kind of don't know what good is or great is there until you've sort of smashed and found the not good and great. So
yeah,
I think the takeaway in my mind for builders here are, one, it takes a long time. Two, this work is, there's a huge pot of gold at the end of figuring this out, which means a ton of people are going to go try to figure it out, which means it's going to be very, very hard. No shock to most builders. I think the other piece is just how difficult to sort of grok the early stages are for consumer products. And I think founders struggle. Like crypto VC is actually not well suited today for consumer. And I think that's the thing that we're seeing across the board, despite the eager proclamations from many firms out on Twitter saying that they want to do early stage consumer crypto. They don't want to do early stage consumer crypto. They want to do they want a low val, but de-risked crypto, right? And so they're looking for traction, they're looking for all these things. And so as far as I'm concerned, that's not being an early stage investor in consumer crypto. And so I think like the structure of that market is very different than what infrastructure might look like. And so I think founders need to have different expectations and almost like there's a higher degree of responsibility to go prove that you're not insane and that you can go build this than you'll see in many other categories. You're not going to go raise $150 million for a consumer app that doesn't have any traction. And yet we see that in L1s last week, right? So I think it does change the way that you have to approach the market. It changes the way you have to build a little bit, I think. And there's just such a premium on that traction. And I think when you look at, the process that Nikita's taken in to go build this, and despite having done it before, like it still takes a ton of iteration and throwing stuff against the wall to figure it out. So listen to the podcast. It's a great one.
Yeah,
and
yeah, let's jump to Soundmap. This is a pretty interesting one. So why don't we just stumbled on it this week, and it's basically Pokemon Go for music fans. So you can, walk around, find song drops, trade those song drops with friends, kind of build your collection and like, music taste profile. You can do like artist quests to show your fandom. You can battle the songs that you own against other people. You can even like predict how many streams someone's going to have over the next week. So there's a lot of these, really interesting core components. It's had, I think you can even earn point or coins across the app.
Can you bring it up? Do you have a screen for us?
Yeah, good call. Peace, where are you? And even like earn. Let me see if I can do that. There's no map, but whatever. You kind of get the taste of it, and like earn coins that you can use, whatever, to like trade or like upgrade or kind of progress in the game.
This isn't crypto though, right?
So that's what's interesting, right? So it's had viral adoption over the last like couple of weeks. I think 1 million+ users now, and it like is such a clear crypto use case that is just and has like the adoption that we're all dying to see out of a consumer crypto product, but it is not at all built on crypto rails. So it really just like got me just like thinking about how would this experience and adoption compare if it was like if the drops were NFTs that you actually owned, if the predictions were, prediction markets, if the coins were tokens. And I think it's like, I guess where I netted out is that short term, it probably would make no difference at all. Right. It's like, the songs being music NFTs are cool if you care about, bringing them and displaying them in other crypto experiences, but the vast majority of value in that yet. If the prediction markets, like that would be sick if you wanted to bet. Probably most of the people on this product don't want to do that. And the coins being tokens would, be cool for people wanting to speculate on it, but that's probably a thing that probably only crypto natives want to do. So obviously, like not being on chain creates a pretty degraded experience for me personally and us, but that's just probably not true for most people that are on there. So I think that's
we looked at a team building in this category previously, and I think like the insight there that really checked out, it sort of fits in between these two crypto worlds. Like there's this, and I would define it sort of as people who would just like to earn a little bit of money, right? So there's like crypto people like, give me 1,000x, or like, if your airdrop's out not over $200, am I even looking at it, sort of thing? I will, because that's a couple golf clubs, but whatever. Like, and so the volatility being a feature, but for the vast majority of people, that's a bug, right? I bought it now, it's worth half. Oh my God, what the hell is a scam? The ability to earn stable coins or just, real dollars into your account for doing something, even if it's 10, 15, $20, it's going to be seen as very beneficial to people, right? It's just like, it's a sense of free money, and it doesn't come with that downside. So I think there's an interesting category there that sort of lives between these two worlds, but I just think it gets at some of the core, it's a great question to ask. Like, what do you actually get from this experience being on chain? And I think like the core thing is it would just be worth a lot more for everybody involved. I think that's what we see, right? And you see sort of like the multiples on the network or equity value of a thing. You see like the if there's a token coming out about it, which is the way you formalize that value, it's like these fans using stuff, etc. So there's all those pieces in there. And my guess is like, that and composability, and I guess sort of trust or transparency would be the other thing. So I think teams and builders are going to have to we're thinking about trade-offs in a much more nuanced way today than I think, if we go back to this decentralized versus not decentralized, like that's not the conversation anymore outside of like infrastructure, which I think is correct. Now it's sort of trade-offs between target market, user groups, sort of, the USPs, the identity, yada, yada.
Yeah. And I think it's like short-term, long-term thing, right? I think short-term, probably not much of a difference, but if you had, vision on what crypto unlocks long-term, like you can see how this could be the seed for a pretty powerful ecosystem if you wanted to go build that, right? So I think like, playing with this, like my takeaway was we just need people that have this crypto vision, are bought into the, on-chain world, understand all the unlocks and know that's where we're going, but are able to go build viral products today. Because if this was built by, a crypto believer and founder with crypto vision, like the opportunities that you would have to start introducing people to the power of digital asset ownership and interoperability and blah, 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 blah would be huge.
I also think it would just get, a viral product like this in crypto, like this would be 10 times more popular, 100 times more popular than it is today in crypto. If they have all that Web2 viral loops, and then it's, StepN is a product of this, right? Like StepN's still carrying a multiple billion-dollar, last time I checked, sort of network value. And it really rode sort of the coattails of play to earn in a new category plus health and fitness. I don't think anybody uses it right now.
Yeah. Still valuable. Yeah.
Well, valuable, but also get like that. The value was going from no attention to like super credibility in a specific category. So yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I think it's
I'm gonna play around with that. I love when you share these things, just like, even as simple as like if you're building a consumer crypto app and you have not used the top 20 consumer apps and figured out exactly how they're onboarding you, then you missed out. Like, and if you want, I think that for crypto apps, Temu, the onboarding process for Temu is probably got the most insights packed into that one screen that I've seen in a long time. Like it is like
100%. Yeah.
It looks like a crypto app.
I went through do you remember Laps, the like photo?
Yeah.
I went through the onboarding process again this week, and it's just like it's a master class.
So that there as well. So what they built was a bunch of infra behind the scenes to pull a ton of different data sources together to be able to just virtually create your contact list, essentially, that depend across multiple different data sources. So you know, even if you don't have your contact list, which I don't keep my contact list super up to date, which is what so many of Nikita's apps were sort of built on top of. This is that next level. I think there's actually an opportunity to go build that product for consumer crypto apps, because it's actually, or somebody's going to go build it for them. They'll likely just build it for themselves because it'd be such a superpower to get people on board.
Yeah.
And then you start bringing in open social graphs as well as this sort of virtual social graph that you create. Yeah, it's great. We should create a thread of like the best onboarding, like consumer app onboarding experiences right now, because there's just so much free genius insight. You just got to think about it a little bit. And maybe we can help with that.
Yeah, it's funny. I was pinging someone who knows the founder of this, and he was like, he hates blockchains. So you could imagine like going to this person and be like, oh, this app you've built is a great use case for crypto, and they'd be like, why? And
yeah, that's our issue. This is the number one problem.
You probably couldn't explain your way there, right? Like there needs to be this belief,
100%.
Things that it unlocks long term to really go down the path.
Somebody should go. I mean, let's just pull the Germany move here. Facebook just decided to relaunch, or some German company decided just to relaunch all the popular social networks, but in Europe and in Germany specifically, and made like a gazillion dollars off of it. Oh yeah, have a look at it. There's like a notorious group of investors and builders in Germany that built a European or German LinkedIn and German Facebook and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's the most ethical or way I would want to spend my life, but there is so much low-hanging fruit and just taking things that are so obviously suited for this and building it for a different audience, and with doing it on chain from day one.
I mean, it's where I think the core insight Nikita pulled for TBH was from some like Arabic app that was top.
Yes,
and he's like, oh, I'll just go do this, not in Arabic.
Genius.
Cool. Yeah, let's jump
this week in NFTs. What a title.
We'll go
three body problem.
Body problem, because it's
okay.
I think it's just so related to all the stuff we've been talking about, and kind of a funny like sequence of events in my week that kind of culminated here.
All driven by podcast links sent to you.
Yeah. So I tweeted out earlier this week, and it's funny because it was even before I stumbled on Soundmap, but just like was kind of like noodling around on the idea that, you know, a core promise of music NFTs, or the core thing that a core idea that people share behind them is, you know, you can get exposure to an artist that you find earlier than everyone else and kind of get a share in the upside. And I think that just like largely hasn't played out in music NFTs, I think for a bunch of reasons, but was just kind of thinking about how prediction markets feel like obviously a better starting point to serve like that specific desire. And then just started thinking about how, okay, so if you do have a prediction market, let's say it's a long-term prediction market, someone streams over the next like 2 years or something, and you know that you have on-chain, you know who your believers are, or the people that are actually at least like betting on your side, and then you can drop them collectibles, you can do all this stuff with that chat. But that, I don't know, it just seemed like a really interesting starting point to me. But then John Moore brought up a good point here in the thread, where he was just like asking the question of whether I thought it was possible for hyperfans and traders to sustainably coexist together. And yeah, I think it's just, you know, I do, but I think it's just a good question. And then, you know, I think it's also related to the Soundmap conversation, right? It's like, if you put this on chain and suddenly people were speculating on that, what impact does that have on the people who are kind of just playing that for more pure reasons? And then, yeah, I think Sterling shared a link to,
Invest Like the Best.
Mitch Lasky on Invest Like the Best. They're actually talking about the three body problem that crypto introduces in gaming, talking about this exact thing. So I kind of found it to be a pretty useful framing. And basically, like what he was describing is that, you know, in gaming, you typically have two core participants, right? You have the developer and you have the user. And, you know, that's a relatively stable, understandable relationship. But then if you put stuff on chain and like forefront that, then you add this entire participant, like the speculator, and that creates this three body problem that's actually a pretty like inherently unstable relationship and adds like a ton of complexity. So I think he shared optimism that's solvable, but there's a ton of just design work that needs to go be done to actually figure out the right way to those three people exist in like a mutually beneficial way that doesn't actually degrade any of their individual experiences and desires and reasons they're there. So
yeah, I think he ended that segment with like short-term bearish, long-term bullish on crypto. And I think that's probably a really fair stance to have. I mean, I think we probably, people who listen to this, people who are building are very like, that's the opportunity we see, is actually to go be in the trenches figuring that out. But I think generally and understandably from a broader market, people are still waiting for that figuring out to be done before there's that broader adoption, which I think is super interesting. I think the way I would frame it is designing a product where there are speculators without designing a product for speculators is the bad thing. And I think actually most token products so far have designed for one or the other, and actually designed mostly for speculators, I think, even into infra, etc. And so I disagree that it's inherently unstable, and that the three body problem kind of frames it up in a certain way. I think like there are many applications that are able to design for multi-party desires, needs, problems to be solved. And I think
it's more just like the intentionality that you need to.
I think that's exactly it.
Introduce speculation and be like, okay, everything's magically going to.
Well, and I think like there's a lot of speculation that's been introduced in a way that is not only not accretive to the token or to the users, so there's no value coming back to them for that speculative demand, but it's also like still comes with all the downsides from it, right? And so, I think that there's room for, we talked about this a bunch, interesting ways of like, if you think about your core users using your thing, maybe they're speculating, maybe they're not, maybe there's some mix of it. Then you have traders who are purely speculating, which comes with some good, comes with a lot of bad. Cool, but how do we take value from that speculative action and actually bring it back to feed the core? And I think Friend Tech almost had that idea, but I think you see it's pretty clearly that
in baseline, for example, it's kind of hovering on top. That could be interesting.
That I think is more. I think Friend Tech tried to own the market, and I think that was actually the death of it. Like you kind of need, you want to be leaning into maximum liquidity. So I think there's other mechanisms there that need to be tried, and maybe
I think how Zora's handling it. Obviously, it's early, TBH how it goes long term, but how they're handling it and keeping it like creator collector focused in the app, but then also plugging into this like speculative world that can go exist on Dex Screener and in crypto broadly. But kind of knows those as much as they can.
I don't know. I'm not sure they shared any of this publicly, so I won't share it. But I think like this idea of like recognizing there are traders and speculators and building an experience for them, while maintaining a different one. I think that seems to be the approach that they're taking, and I think they have made a bunch of smart moves in the past that kind of allow for that. So all right, we're going to blow through time here. I just want to call it the fact that we have This Week in NFTs literally on the topic here, which is something we haven't had maybe in the history of the show.
Yeah, there's like I have like 4 things.
I minted NFTs.
Yeah,
like last night I minted the party dropped, and I got a legendary there. No, the other one. Then that Creature Worlds, man, I love what he's up to. And I minted a bunch of them, and I got like one of the super rares there too, like one of a green guy sitting down and the whole thing. But I actually like the other ones more, and I kind of want them to be real physical things that I can go put on my shelf.
It's cool to see 404s come back and be used in like a pretty compelling way. Like I think largely, like yes, our NFT market is dead, but also we just haven't had a lot of people doing interesting things with NFTs.
People are minting shit again, man. Like this is the thing, and you got to remember, minting is fun when there's energy around it. It's not fun when nobody wants to buy your bags.
So another, I guess, very very quickly. Oh, it's not working. Oh, there it is. So Magic Eden built this like NFT aggregator, and I was surprised going here just seeing how much like NFT mints there are daily and how much activity there is. Like I think it's a bit of a narrative violation just sitting here and watching how much stuff people are minting and creating.
Yeah.
So anyways, read my newsletter. There's more in this topic.
All right, y'all. Happy end of August. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us. This is episode 44. Feels good. Is that right?
I think so.
We're saying that feels good. If you're going to be in Singapore next month, Josh and I will be out there. So reach out. We're going to be kind of low key. We got some master plans that we're working on, but excited to be out there with y'all. Check out Slow Rodeo. That's going to be a fun. Like they did such a great job at, like Ryan spearheaded the build out of everything for us at FarCon and more. So that would be worth going to just to see what they built there truly. And yeah, get on Josh's newsletter. We got I just feel like this next 4 months are just going to be, I mean, crazy, absolutely crazy. So stoked to be on the journey with you all. And we'll see you here next week, 1 p.m. Eastern time, 10 a.m. Pacific time. And until then, go mint some stuff on chain. It's kind of fun.
Internet Explorers.